Semifinal contest here at the Breslin Center. First of all, for the Maroon Giants of Kalamazoo Central. At one guard is Daryl Smith. Number 5, a 6'3", 160-pound senior. Also, number 41 is Jermaine Buchanan, who averages 14.2 points a game. Number 43 is Nikita Robinson. He's a freshman, goes 6'3". Also, the leading scorer and second leading rebounder for this team, Arthur Norman, 6'3", 185-pound senior, averaging 19.2. And number 11, Milo Stovall, a 170-pound sophomore. So 2 seniors, a junior, a sophomore, and a freshman to start for the Giants.
Well, that's very interesting considering early on I thought Brigham Cheney, the senior, 6'7", 205, was going to start for Kalamazoo at center. They are throwing out a freshman against Antonio Smith. Oh, wow. For the Vikings, starting out there at number 4 at the forward, Robert Smith. At number 32, Deontay Harvey. At 33, the center is Antonio Smith. Of course, Torrey Gist at guard, along with Mateen Cleaves. And that is a group of young men whose names are known as a team all around the state when you talk about basketball.
3 seniors and 2 juniors starting today for the Flint Northern Vikings. They're obviously the more experienced team, but again, a lot of youth on this Kalamazoo Central team. You got to like them for next year too, Bill. Again, with 2 seniors, a junior, a sophomore, and a freshman starting for them today in this Class A semifinal.
And Kalamazoo Central coach Clarence Gardner showing an incredible amount of confidence in the youth of his team, putting a freshman at center, Nikita Robinson, to go up against perhaps, well, the man who finished second in Mr. Basketball voting, so obviously he's quite a talent. And that's going to be, to me, the key matchup as you look at 6'3" now against 6'8" of Antonio.
Antonio Smith, number 33, averaging 16.8%. There you see one of the Northern fans painted up and ready to go as Flint Northern takes on Kalamazoo Central, the Maroon Giants, and the Vikings in the Class A semifinal from the Breslin Center. And we're happy to be bringing it to you today.
A massive lineup outside of here. It looked like Elvis was having a concert when I came in today. He's not, is he?
Not that I heard, but then again, you never know.
There's no Burger King in this area, so I guess he's not around.
But they say he's from Kalamazoo, right? So he could be a Maroon Giant fan.
He might be painted up somewhere. Keep your eyes open for the King. And if you see him, get your eyes checked.
Kalamazoo Central will be dressed in white, trimmed in maroon and gold. The Flint Northern Vikings in their red, scarlet, and gray. And we are about ready. The teams wish each other good luck, and we're ready to get things up. It'll be Antonio Smith jumping the ball for the Vikings. And it looks like Buchanan, Jermaine Buchanan, 6'4" against 6'8". And Antonio controls the tap to Mateen Cleaves. Here's another great player on this Flint team, had 25 in the last game. Cleaves goes left side to the hole, alley-oops, it won't go. Tip is up and good. And I don't know if they're going to get that one to Cleaves or Robert Smith.
Red shirts all over the glass that trip down. And we're going to take a look at that first drive and tip in again. Here's Cleaves to the hole. The scoop comes up on the far side, and he does get up and tip it in just inside of Robert Smith. First offensive board in the first trip down.
A 2-0 lead for the Vikings as we are just underway. Inside to the big fella. Antonio goes up, get it, and a foul.
Well, if you're Tony Holiday and you're diagramming the beginning of the ball game, if you're Tony Holiday and you're diagramming the beginning of this ball game, you can't do it any better. Lob pass in, you're taking advantage of that height disparity in the post area, and Antonio not often going to be denied down deep like that.
Boy, Mateen Cleaves is a 6'1" junior, number 24. He has really come into his own this season as the roll goes from Antonio, and some pressure in the backcourt by the Vikings, now leading 5-0, 30 seconds into this Class A semifinal. Driving to the hole is Milo Stovall, and he banks it home. 11. And quickly, Robert Smith between the legs, left-hander off the window, won't go. Tip almost in off Milo Stovall, and it goes back the other way. Here come the Maroon Giants, running quickly. The pull-up jumper, good.
Christopher Brown pulls the trigger on that. Looked like a fast break opportunity. He pulled up and took it himself.
Speaking of fast breaks, the miss from Cleaves. Cleaves back up and in.
24. I didn't wear my track shoes today, but it's looking like I should have.
Don't blink or you might miss something in this game. It is 7-4. Northern on top, feed down low, off the window, no, but Nikita Robinson picks up some harm.
Well, you have here at the Breslin Center a lower bowl capacity and the upper bowl beginning to fill up here. Everybody expecting a good confrontation, and we have witnessed in just over a minute of play about 6 trips up and down the floor at full throttle.
That foul went against Robert Smith, and standing at the free throw line for a couple is Nikita Robinson. Nikita, a 38% free throw shooter, Bill, and that first one looked like it.
That was not a comfortable look at the free throw line for Nikita. Again, he is in there having to worry not only about his offense, but on checking the man who just rebounded that free throw.
He's a freshman. Antonio Smith quickly up court. And with the rock now is Dante Harvey. Harvey dishes it off. Torrey Gist.
Backdoor.
Nope, a little bit long for Antonio Smith.
Well, that was the hardest way to have the alley-oop go, as they went completely across the floor with it. And now K Central looks like they're going to set up a definite half-court look as the running game slows down momentarily.
Man-to-man defense for the Vikings. Left wing looking for some help is Arthur Norman. He is their leading scorer again. Now Chris Brown on top, being forced out high. Good defense by the Vikings. Making the Maroon Giants work hard for a look. And there's Norman with a one-hander. Baseball pass up court. And the easy bucket for Harvey. No, he missed it. And Kalamazoo Central with a chance to take their first lead. Stovall with the 15-footer. There it is. Milo Stovall makes it 8-7. Maroon Giants on top. One of three players with 20 points or more in their quarterfinal win, Milo Stovall. We got a whistle and a blocking foul called inside in the lane.
Well, I'll tell you what, these guys from K Central are putting a quick hush in the Flint Northern crowd. You can hear a noticeable difference in the noise level here at the Breslin. The folks came over from Flint. I think all of GM's probably shut down today. Everybody comes over to watch the Vikings. And they have put a hush to the crowd. Not to that horn, however.
Nikita Robinson was called for that foul. It is Calvin Harley checking in now, a 6'2", 175-pound senior for the Maroon Giants. Cleaves feeds inside. Robert Smith puts it to the hole, goes up, and a whistle. He'll be at the line to shoot a couple. Robert Smith, the younger brother of Antonio Smith, 6'5", 225, and a junior, quite a football player too.
Well, if this game does come down to a frequent free throw parade, Kalamazoo Central is 67% of the season to just 64 for Flint Northern. Not a big disparity there, but there is a distinct possibility that this could end up being an inside, fast-moving game and a free throw barrage at the same time.
You're looking at Lavelle Hamlin, number 40, who just checked in the ball game as Harvey takes a seat. 8-7 is the score after the free throw was missed by Robert Smith. Kalamazoo Central leading the Flint Northern Vikings with 5:23 left to go in the first quarter. Class A semifinal action. And Smith gets the second one. That's his first point. 8-8, we're tied. Little jumper left side, will not go. Rebound kept alive by the Kalamazoo Central Giants. And there's a triple from the corner. Arthur Norman averages 19.2, and he puts his team up 11-8.
And they get the ball back. After some intense defense on the inbounds play, Northern kind of caught off guard, threw it away, and gives it back to the Giants.
Tony Holliday, the coach of the Vikings, on his feet. Ball coming into Norman, goes to the hole, stop, pull-up jumper, in and out, won't go. Smith fights for the rebound. It's loosed, and Robert Smith has it. Quick outlet to Cleaves, right side. Here come the Vikings on the break. High off the window, banking it home is Torrey Gist.
I think Torrey might have packed up the bags and had an extra step on that approach, but the results count.
11-10 lead now for Kalamazoo Central. It's Chris Brown on the wing. He gives it up to Calvin Harley. Arthur with a jumper, got it. Arthur Norman.
I'll tell you what, Arthur Norman not at all shy on pulling the trigger here in the early going and gets a nice one in off the window.
And he's got 7 points. Leading scorer in the game.
Foul on Kelvin Harvey down there, trying to put a little body on Mr. Smith, and got a little too much in that time.
Central foul, 33 Harley.
13-10. Kalamazoo Central on top. Northern inbounds to Robert underneath, and he drops it through. Robert Smith.
That's almost too easy off the inbounds play. You got to put on a little better pressure and always protect the area right underneath the basket.
Arthur Norman gets it back on the feed, and nice passing work by Jermaine Buchanan, feeding Norman, who now has 9.
Boy, Norman is lighting them up here today.
9 of their 15 points. It's a 15-12 lead. And there's the jumper from the top. Oh, that is a pretty look from Torrey Gist.
Torrey with the soft as a feather touch on that. Arthur Norman, by the way, averaging 19.2 a game, leading this giant ball club. And as you can see, he's doing that by not being afraid to pull the trigger pretty much from wherever he's at.
Robert Smith gets off the floor. A foul called as Milo Stovall drives to the hoop.
And for Northern, 32, Deontay Harvey for Hamlin.
3:47. 4 points for Gist, who didn't score until late in that quarterfinal game, and he intercepts the ball. 2-on-2 break. Nice feed to Cleaves, and he lays it up and in.
Well, that was all started by a relatively lazy inbound pass by K Central. They cost themselves that time, and here's our man again, not afraid to pull the trigger. Norman gets another.
You think he's feeling it?
He's got the Vinnie Johnson thing going.
And an out of bounds going back the other way to Kalamazoo Central. Let's take a look at that Northern fast break, Bill, that was finished by Cleaves.
A beautiful drop pass coming up here from Torrey as he draws the defense over to himself and then no looks it backwards. Mateen just goes hard to the hole.
And a steal while we go back to live action. Antonio Smith feeds left wing. Mateen for 3. Bang.
3.
Looked like a layup, and they beat him back down the floor. Oh!
Beautiful block by Antonio Smith. 19-17, Northern in the lead. Seesaw first quarter. Antonio to Robert.
Basket by 4, Robert Smith.
Thought maybe Robert was going to try and bring down the house with that one. Laid it in nice and gently. Off of almost every Flint Northern made basket, Kelvin Harley's been the first man back down the floor for K Central. This time the Vikings are back, but for the most part, they've been letting a man sneak behind him and go deep for a long pass. We saw it the last time down. Great block by Antonio.
Northern foul, 33.
Now we have a Northern foul.
His first, 13 foul.
And they're going to say that's Antonio Smith. And at the free throw line will be Arthur Norman.
Kalamazoo Central, 51.
Now here's the case where Kelvin Harley beats everybody back down the floor, but he doesn't see Tone coming, and he just changes the address on a little finger roll.
And Norman has 11 points. In fact, he has the last 9 points scored by Kalamazoo Central. They trail Flint Northern 21-17. A good look at Arthur Norman, a 73% free throw shooter, and he is now the first player in double digits in this game.
Antonio comes out of the game with, I believe he has 2 personal fouls at this point.
And checking in is Robert Garth, 6'3", 215-pound junior. You can hear the snap of the net. Arthur Norman pulls his team to within 2. 21-19, Vikings with the ball and the lead. 2:44 left to go in the first quarter. Driving is Cleaves, reverse. Pretty.
Well, you've got to step out and cut that path to the basket off. It can't let a guy go unchecked from the timeline all the way to the rack like that, or he will make you go home early and plan your banquet.
Mateen Cleaves now with 8 points. Northern matching up in a man-to-man. Right side is Steve Chester. Intercepted by Mateen Cleaves. Let's watch this one. Showtime!
24, Cleaves. Basket by Cleaves.
Again, really a case of the Giants having a lackadaisical pass on top, and it's too bad because their half-court offense is not a bad setup, but they've got to make good passes. There's another bad one.
And here come the Vikings again. Garth, alley-oop, no good. Fights for it, but it's pulled on instead by Jermaine Buchanan.
Well, 3-on-1, you've got to get rid of the ball. You can't take it like that all the way to the hole, and he forced a shot, didn't even come close.
25-19, Vikings on top and playing some D. Stovall, jumper, in and out. Rebound pulled down by Northern. That's Robert Garth. Ahead to Harvey. Wide open. In and out. Back the other way we come on a fast break.
Oh, yeah. What a great pass.
Arthur Norman missed it, but I think they're going to call a foul or a goaltend.
Took that off the window. Here's a couple of... We're going to take a look at a couple of Flint Northern fast breaks. First of all, the reverse by Mateen Cleaves. And by the way, a gorgeous bounce pass on the last Giants play. We'll take a look at that, I'm sure, as you see the left-handed reverse. And then Mateen's going to break away for the right-handed mini tomahawk here. Very nicely done. And Flint Northern with a 4-point lead. We have 1:30 to go in the first quarter. Some substitutions going on here.
Well, Well, you certainly don't want to give this Flint Northern Viking team an inch, because if you do, they'll burn you.
If you can get the Vikings into a good half-court showdown, as long as Antonio Smith is on the bench, you're going to have a prayer, because when they get into a slowdown half-court, he's their main option out there.
Torrey Kist in the ball game. We got a couple of new players in, as a matter of fact. In for Kalamazoo Central, Kevin Harley, number 33, is checked back in. Robert Smith is also back in the ball game now for the Vikings. There's Tony Holiday, who, of course, normally is wearing that Armani look of the suit, but he's gone for the tournament into the sweat look.
I don't know. You like to stay in uniform with your other coaches, and he's got the good look going. Ball tapped out of bounds. It's going to stay with the Vikings.
25-21.
Now there's your Chuck Daly suit right
There
there.
you go. That's Clarence Gardner.
Oh,
High outlet pass is almost picked off by Norman, and we've got a whistle. And on the baseline, I believe.
Good call. They were both going for the ball. Just so happened that Norman fell down. and happened to force Lavelle Hamlin out of bounds.
There's Tony Holiday in that casual sweat look. His team on top with a minute to go in the first quarter by 4. There's Norman right to the hoop, up high, won't go. Rebound, Antonio Smith high to clear it out.
Boy, he put a couple extra ticks of hang time on that approach. Brigham Cheney in now to check Antonio Smith. He's the guy I thought was going to start the game. He's a senior for K Central wearing number 51.
Oh my, Robert Smith just powered into the lane, tossed it up with a left hand, banked it home, and then tasted some wood. Deflected by Antonio Smith to Robert Smith. Robert Smith, foul on top. Chris Brown got him, and maybe that's the best thing to do in that situation.
Well, they were actually close to forcing Robert into a traveling situation, but still, you're not going to want to let him go for a big two-handed rattler. You can say what you want about the slam dunk only counting for 2 points, but in an atmosphere like this in the big house with a packed crowd here, you know it sends a charge through the place when you can get one down, and they didn't want to give up a dunk.
There's Milo Stovall, who is checked back in, one of the sophomores. He's a sophomore. No bonus yet. Mateen Cleaves behind the arc. It's up. No good. Rebound underneath.
Oh.
Vikings get another shot at it, but it goes out of bounds, and they'll keep it.
There are some flailing arms going out there. Brigham Cheney was waving the windmill at the shot, trying to stop it. Momentarily, they did.
Lavelle Holmes got a look at that one. Couldn't get it to fall, and it comes back out into Robert off a Central player, and here they come. That's Arthur with the rock. Arthur Norman drops it through. He's been a scoring machine.
Oh, man.
17 points, including the last 13 by the Maroon Giants.
His teammates have contributed 6 points on the day.
10 seconds left. Alley-oop. Oh! Nice try from Smith, who gets it back up and in.
He almost tapped that in backwards as the first quarter winds down.
Maybe a shot at the buzzer. No. Won't count if it goes. And that is the end of a very exciting first quarter from Breslin Arena in this Class A semifinal between the Vikings of Flint Northern and Kalamazoo Central's Maroon Giants. Northern on top 29-23 in a very seesaw battle, but what a performance we saw in that first quarter by Arthur Norman, the 6'3" senior for this team. He's averaging 19 points a game, and so far he has 17.
Take a look at that last Kalamazoo bucket on the break. This is our man of the hour, Arthur Norman. He's going to take it coast to coast. Not worried about the wings. You can see he's got guys on either side, but you minimize the risk of a turnover when you've got a straight path to the hole. Takes it in. I thought maybe he was measuring himself at the free throw line to go up for a big one. But Arthur doesn't strike me as a young man who today is going to get a lot of rest, and he may be conserving a little energy.
Some great work from our crew on that last replay, doing a great job behind the scenes as always.
There's Elvis. No, that's not.
One of our young fans from Kalamazoo Central enjoying the afternoon out here at the Breslin Center. And I was talking with some reporters out of state, and they said this is what it's all about. This is basketball, and he even said to me it was even better, of course, than the NCAA tournament because it's basketball so pure with these high school kids.
There's the guys you're looking at now on the right-hand side is a longtime high school basketball official. DeCarlos Terry, I believe is his last name. He has worked a couple of my games back when I was playing intramurals, and you don't mess with this man. You look at him the wrong way, and he says, gentlemen, go on and play, which is a good thing to do. He's taken it in, as today at the Breslin Center. If you had the time to look at each and every seat, you would see more than a handful of big college recruiters, head coaches, representatives. They know where the talent is coming, and it's at the Breslin Center here today. I would imagine you'd see all the big guns here, and Tom Izzo, probably, seeing as how this is his home floor, is wandering around somewhere. Mateen Cleaves right now leads Flint Northern with 13.6 for 10 from the field. He has been fortunate to get inside for some close-in attempts. Arthur Norman 7 for 10 with 17 points as we start the second.
And possession goes to Kalamazoo Central, trailing 29-23 after one.
Norman's going to attract a lot of defensive intensity, a lot of attention from Flint Northern. Lavelle Hamlin steps out on him as they lob it inside for Milo Stovall, goes out of bounds.
7:48 left in the first half. Quick, exciting ball game. The inbounds pass is deflected by a minute, but guess who? Up and in. Arthur Norman is on fire, folks.
Boy, that is the truth if I've ever heard it.
He's already got his average for the season per game. Underneath, they try to feed it into and do feed it in. to 33. Antonio Smith, 31-25. So far, Northern seems to have the answer for Arthur Norman's points. And there's Stovall with a long-range jumper, won't go, but it comes out wide and it's pulled down by Norman. Norman feeds inside. Oh, there's a jump ball travel. Antonio Smith went up with 6'7" senior Brigham Cheney and said, not in here.
You ever seen that big mural of Michael Jordan in Chicago? That must have been what it looked like when he turned to shoot. Just all red jersey looking like about 7 stories tall. And the senior had to eat it.
That's Lavelle Hamlin back on top to Torrey Gist. Hamlin again looking inside for Antonio. He clears through the lane. And they go to Antonio Smith. Tries to feed it through the lane to Robert. It's loose, but picked up by Northern. Up and dropped through by Antone Massey.
Antoine Massey.
The Vikings picking up a loose ball and getting a nice 14-footer out of it. They have to say they have a deep bench is kind of an understatement. Massey is senior, 5'10", 155. Just happens to pick it up and throw it in from 14, while Kalamazoo did play good defense on Smith.
Air ball that time from Mr. Norman. And here come the Vikings. Gist into the paint, off the rim.
Whoa.
But it comes out long again. No good. Boy, a couple of breaks there by Northern. They got the bucket off it last time, but Massey couldn't connect on that one.
This is a critical part of the ball game for the Giants right now. They trail by 8. As you're in the early part of the second quarter, you can either bury yourself or make a statement that you're going to be around for the last half. And Flint Northern is used to being dominant in the second quarter. Nice shot thrown in there by Jermaine Buchanan. Northern is very accustomed to dominating this particular quarter against Grand Rapids Ottawa Hills. 19-zip in the second quarter.
And the corner shot will not go from Lavelle Hamlin. Rebound underneath. Antonio Smith clears the glass and drops it through.
Somewhere Tom Izzo is just rubbing his hands saying, oh, please get here.
Stovall quickly off the glass and through, but they're going to call it off. They should call that one off. It would have went through, but a little offensive goaltending, I believe, is going to be called on Jermaine Buchanan.
That's a tough call. I don't know if that was going through the hole or if it was already down, but you're right. They're waving it off. Take a look right now as they go in. Watch the late man flying in, and you're right. That basket's going to be waved off because it was still in the cylinder. And here's Antonio Smith as we take a look at this, taking the loose ball away in the paint from Jermaine Buchanan. Antonio's going to come in and crash from the right side. Bangs into him pretty much. Could have probably been called for a little over the back harm, but just rips it away.
Is that what you call the Dennis Rodman rebounding ethic? I mean, just going right at that ball.
When you see it, you go get it.
Milo Stovall hits the first free throw.
I must say I like Antonio's hair a lot better than Dennis Rodman.
35-28, there's Milo. 6'3" sophomore. He's the leading three-point shooter on that team with 44% from 3. 6-point lead for the Vikings and the Rock. They lead at 35-29. Gist on top. Now Mateen Cleaves will put up a triple. No good. Robert is there. Robert spins. Robert can't hit it, but we've got a whistle. And an offensive foul. Robert Smith. I think that'll be 3 on Robert.
15 foul. Player control.
No, excuse me, that's Robert Smith's second foul.
I don't know what the official numbers are at this point, but Flint Northern on the offensive glass has been just tearing up Kalamazoo Central. And really, that's the only thing that, to me, have kept the Giants out of this game so far. And they're only down by 6. So if you're on the bench of the Giants, you've got to be pretty much contented with the fact that if you can box out, you're going to keep your team a lot closer.
Arthur Norman, the Black Sox, around the horn left side. That's Chris Brown. They look inside. Buchanan with a nice one-handed jumper, can't get it. Rebound pulled down by Deontay Harvey. Pass up court quickly. Antonio Smith into the paint, bounces off some bodies, banks it through, won't go. Jermaine Buchanan.
Clarence Gardner yelling for the offensive foul there. And, you know, he has a point. There was a lot of initiated contact by the offense. But they do get a couple points out of it.
Milo Stovall, and then Robert Smith can't get it to drop as Chris Brown provided some defense for Kalamazoo Central. 35-31. Central hanging around. Stovall with a jumper, got it.
Milo Stovall.
It's a 2-point game. Flint Northern with a 14-9 edge in rebounds, but a 2-point game, 35-33.
And Stovall has carried this team in the last couple of moments as well as Arthur Norman did in the first quarter. He has 10 points in the ball game. And now in that Kalamazoo huddle, you got to think they're feeling pretty darn confident. We believe is the T-shirt you see, and they probably do at this point, down by 2.
Milo Stovall with 17.2 points a game. He's the second leading scorer behind Norman. And you can see the Class A titles that Flint and Kalamazoo have together. Northern has 8. Central has 3 out of Flint. Northwestern back-to-back titles with Grover Kirkland with 2. And Kalamazoo Central has 6 titles. So there is a bit of history of going all the way between these two cities. Well, you got to like what you see if you're a Kalamazoo Central fan. We showed the graphic a moment ago, Bill, about getting out rebounded 14-9. And right now, Northern does seem to be the dominant team on the boards, but it's only a 2-point game. And so far, Arthur Norman and lately Milo Stovall have kept that team in.
The best sign of all so far for K Central to me, as we are, I'm getting a little dizzy, a little vertigo. The best sign of all for K Central so far to me is that they are now getting another contributor in the scoring column. There's no way that a team as good as Flint Northern is going to allow one player to burn them for the whole game. So now K Central has gone about and created another scorer. If Stovall can keep it up, maybe in the third quarter somebody else will take over.
You know, many high school seniors will conclude their formal athletic career this year, leaving behind many positive memories. But a growing number of student athletes are stepping from a player's role into an official's role each year through the Michigan High School Athletic Association Legacy Program. If you're a high school senior, you're eligible to become a game official now so you can continue to take home the field for years. For more information about the Legacy Program, contact the MHSAA office in East Lansing. A public service message from the MHSAA and AVS Sports.
After the timeout, we're back with Northern. They just had a pass kicked out of bounds, so the Vikings will maintain possession. Field goal percentages so far 61% for K Central, and that number has grown in the last couple of moments, whereas Flint Northern's has taken a nosedive. At the end of the first, I would guarantee you they were shooting over 60%.
But that's still pretty good for both teams. Oh! An acrobatic move is no, but a great follow slam by Antonio Smith. Wow.
That's rarefied air up there, folks.
37-33. Brown with a jumper just short off the front of the iron. But
Good
fighting
hustle.
for the rebound and getting it is Calvin Harley. Nice play.
Great hustle by Kelvin.
37-33. You see the score. We're in the second quarter of this Class A semifinal. The winner plays Detroit Pershing in the final. Arthur Norman on top. Brown now looking down low for Buchanan. Working on Antonio Smith. And, almost gets the roll, but it won't quite go. And Antonio is high for the rebound. Here come the team Cleves and the Vikings. His pass deflected, but they'll control it right to the hole. In and out, it won't go for Robert Garth. And wide open is Calvin Harley off the window.
And again, Harley beats everybody back down. This is not the first time this has occurred against Northern today. K Central releasing a man early, willing to sacrifice maybe one guy on the defensive end, and they pay off with the layup, and here's another Viking turnover.
Brown ahead to Buchanan. Buchanan steps away from Cleves and drops it through. And we are tied at 37. Nice little run by Kalamazoo Central to tie even with 2:40 to go in the first half. 37-37.
Tony Holliday just maintains a stoic expression on the Viking bench, seeing his team turn the ball over, which is not something in a half-court set that they're accustomed to doing.
Antonio Smith keeps it alive. Nice feed in the middle to Cleves and a foul. I tell you what, Antonio Smith is doing a great job of working those boards.
Let's take a look at Antonio. Speaking of the work that he's doing in the paint, Antonio's going to, I believe, take this one off the rim and put it right back down in a big way. Right about now. Yeah.
He's got 11 points, averages 20 rebounds a game. Here's the fast break the other way for Kalamazoo Central.
A good change of direction as he takes it to the hole. Buchanan had his path cut off, but was able to duck underneath the defense. And you know what surprised me as much as anything is the fact that the Giants, they're not afraid to run. They can take this thing to a track meet. We saw it in the early couple of moments, and that kind of mindset's been revived here as we have 2:23 to go in the half.
Mateen Cleves hits both free throws, and it's back to a 2-point lead for Flint Northern, 39-37. 2:18 left to go in the first half. Todd, Arner, and Bill Hobson with the call courtside at the Breslin Center.
You notice Arthur Norman not pulling the trigger as frequently now as Mateen Cleaves has stepped over to guard him. They have really shut Norman down.
Good isolation on Chris Brown, working on Anton Massey, and we've got a whistle. Foul.
I mean, it is to the point right now on the defensive end for the Vikings where if Norman touches that ball, they're going to run two guys at him if he's in any sort of shooting territory.
Anton Massey, in fact, got called for that foul. And it is now bonus time for the Kalamazoo Central Maroon Giants, shooting 1-1. No, excuse me, two-shot foul. Nice shot of that net snapping as Arthur Norman puts it down, and Tony Holliday looks on, the head coach of the Vikings of Flint Northern, in his 5th year with his team. 24-1 coming into this game. That got his 100th win in the tournament this year, as a matter of fact, his 100th career win earlier in this tournament when they beat Ottawa Hills, and we are tied again at 39 with 1:54 left to go in the first half.
Very rapidly moving first half, I might add.
Zone defense this time, and shooting over that zone is Cleaves. It won't go. Rebound off the foot. Great call by the official. Off the foot of Anton Massey.
Once again, Arthur Norman, the key man in the middle of the heat there, was able to put it out of bounds. I thought that was kind of a maybe a rushed shot by the Vikings. Mateen's a good shooter, but man, that was the old NBA range.
Kalamazoo Central with a chance to retake the lead. Arthur Norman feeds down low. Stovall is blocked from behind. Keeps it going though and hits it through. Milo Stovall.
He actually conceded the block on the first attempt to Antonio without Antonio even knowing he was there. And fortunately for Stovall, got it back and still put it in among the trees. And hey, K-Central is leading this by 2.
And he's got a dozen points now too. Jumper from the corner, no good, but rebound underneath, up and good from Robert Smith, and you can count it.
And just like that, your run can be quenched by an offensive rebound, and Flint Northern has not given up on the boards. Their offensive half-court set has lost some of its luster, but they haven't given up on the offensive glass and now can take the lead again. We look at the K-Central trip. I believe the last time down. Watch inside as Stovall caught Antonio by surprise. He did come back after getting the block and put it right back in.
Smith hit the free throw, completing the three-point play, and it's 42-41. Northern on top, wide open underneath. Stovall high off the glass, and he had to go high off the glass to get it over the outstretched hands of Antonio Smith. 43-42 Central.
Well, Antonio's got to keep the ball from being entered in that low in the post. I mean, you can give up a pass down there, but not right underneath the basket. As great a shot blocker as he is, you're not going to get everything. And Stovall put it up off the top of the window.
Driving underneath Antonio Smith from an impossible angle, and he drops it through. 44-43. We've got 24 seconds to go. They don't have the look that they're going to work for one, though. Buchanan underneath. Kicks it back on top to Brown. Left side, wide open. Stovall for the jumper. It's a three-pointer. Only 10 seconds to go. Northern's got to get it up in a hurry. They trail by 2. Down to 6 seconds as McCleaves crosses the timeline. Looks right side. Smith, 10-footer, won't go. Tip, good. Robert Smith.
Oh, man.
Robert Smith with the big tip as time expires. And I guess that is fitting because in a first half of basketball that was both exciting and closely played, we are deadlocked 46-46. And I don't know about those guys, but I'm tired from watching this thing.
If you'd have told me before we started that at halftime Flint Northern would have to tip one in to be tied, I would have been very surprised. All the credit in the world goes to the Giants, who are playing a tremendous first half of ball. They go to the locker room now, and Clarence Gardner, I would think his instructions would be, look, guys, we get the offensive boards cleared up. We're going to win this game.
Tony Holliday's team definitely in a battle with Kalamazoo Central. There is your halftime score. We are dead even at 46 in this Class A semifinal from the Breslin Center. The winner moves on to play Detroit Pershing in Saturday's final. Stay with us. We'll be back with the second half and some stats for the first half in just a couple of moments. Again, we're deadlocked at 46, halftime at the Breslin Center.
If you're in high school and you want to play sports at an NCAA Division I or II school, then you must be certified by the NCAA Initial Eligibility Clearinghouse. Ask your coach or guidance counselor for one of these student release forms. Fill it out and send it to the clearinghouse. Remember, if you're not certified, then you can't compete as a freshman in NCAA Division I or II. For more information, call 319-337-1492.
Welcome back to the Breslin Center, everyone. Halftime of the Class A boys high school basketball state Class A final, and it has been a shootout. Kalamazoo Central and Flint Northern are dead even after 16 minutes of basketball, 46-46. And Bill, maybe we're a bit surprised. We know that coming in here, Kalamazoo Central had lost 8 games. Northern just won a 1-point game. We figured Northern was probably the favorite in this contest, but you have to hand it to Kalamazoo Central. They've done the right things and have rode the hot hand of 2 shooters into this halftime tie.
Well, you have got that right. Norman with 21 points, Stovall with 17, and they each took over 1 quarter. Norman started out the ball game in the first quarter. He dominated. In the second quarter, they went to the other hot hand, just like you said. 17 and Buchanan, the only other player on their team who has more than 2 points. They have not dominated the game as a team. They have dominated it really as 2 individual offensive players. However, on the defensive end, they've done a good job guarding against Flint Northern's outside game. And in fact, the Vikings field goal percentage has taken a big dive. We'll talk about that in a second.
Look at the 61%. I mean, you long that can continue to do that. To put it in perspective, Norman is only averaging 19 points a game. He's over. Stovall is averaging 17 points a game. So those 2 guys have already hit their average in the first half of play here. 75% from the free throw line, 6 turnovers and 12 rebounds. As we look at the first half stats now from the Flint Northern Vikings in this contest, they have been led by Mateen Cleaves, who has 15 points, Antonio Smith with 13, Robert Smith, his younger brother, is right behind him with 12, and you can see quite a difference in the field goal percentage. 61 for the Maroon Giants, 49% for the Vikings, 83% from the boards, or from the free throw line, and they're leading the rebound category, 19. Turnovers are about even, 7-6, but wow, it's a 46-46 halftime score.
And actually, the MHSAA has made a slight adjustment to the rebounding numbers, giving the Vikings 21-13 advantage. But the figure that I've been looking for and finally got in the official stat form handed to us, offensive rebounds. Flint Northern dominating the offensive glass 12-4. And oddly enough, that is what's kept them in the ball game. I mean, we keep looking at it from the other perspective, but for the most part, the Vikings have had to struggle to stay in this thing after their outside shooting went away in the first quarter. They have had to scrap and get whatever they can off the offensive glass.
It's been a great first half, and by all indications, we will see a fine second half here from the Michigan High School Athletic Association Class A basketball semifinals. I'm Todd Arner along with Bill Hobson as we get ready for second half action, all even 46-46, and Kalamazoo Central will get the ball on possession out of bounds. Or excuse me, check that. It will be Flint Northern getting the ball out of bounds.
And I have not yet spotted Elvis for the record, okay?
It'll be Lavelle Hamilton, Torrey Gist, Robert, and Antonio Smith, and Deontay Harvey starting things off for the Vikings. We'll set Kalamazoo Central in a moment. Underneath, nice feed to Antonio Smith. Hey, give a great credit there to Mateen Cleaves for a fantastic pass. 48-46, Northern quickly back on top. Chris Brown, Milo Stovall, Buchanan, Robinson, and Arthur Norman. Loose ball. Bodies diving for it. Good hustle. Norman is crushed in between 2 Viking players, and one of them will get called for a foul.
Going to have to put on the long sleeve rugby shirts for a couple of seconds there. Good hustle by both teams. When that ball is loose out near the half court area, sometimes a guy will give up a little bit. And here's another look at the rugby scrum going on. A little kick in there as well by Northern. And the Giants come away with the ball after the foul against Norman.
And Milo Stovall with the rock. Hands it off to the other big scorer. Arthur Norman goes right to the hole. Now kicks it back out on top. Chris Brown, wing. Stovall, 10-footer. No. Robert Smith clears it out, and here come the Vikings on the run up to Antonio Smith, and he was fouled as the ball came in by Nikita Robinson.
Nice look way up the floor. I like the way they rush it up. I'm not sure if they can match the pace we had in the beginning of this ball game, but coming out here in the second half, everybody's looking nice and fresh, and you wonder how they'll react to whatever instruction it was they received in the locker rooms. For Kalamazoo Central, I would imagine the instruction was more of the same.
Nice block by Nikita Robinson. Up court to Chris Brown, and another whistle, and a foul will go against the Vikings.
Oh boy, if Chris would have heard Nikita yelling at him. Nikita was open all alone, coming in for either a dunk or a nice layup. They will end up at the free throw line, so not all is lost on that fast break.
Let's take a look. I think we're going to see that block perhaps on the other end.
Not often do the Flint Northern Vikings find themselves on the short end of a rejected shot. And we'll take a look at that in a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, at the free throw line, Christopher Brown is good on number 1.
That makes it 48-47. Northern by 1 early in the third period. Nothing but the bottom of the net. And even at 46 or 48. Pass Ted to Robert Smith. He's got it underneath, but gets in trouble. Gets it off to Mateen Cleaves. His double clutch shot won't go, but another foul.
Boy, fantastic catch by Robert directly over the head. I don't. If you can do that on the football field, they'll call you Mr. Risen and sign you down in Cleveland. That was a wonderful job of gathering it in. And now more free throws coming up for Northern.
You're looking at Milo Stovall. Milo, you're not looking at Milo right now, but you're looking at Cleaves going to shoot. The foul was on Milo Stovall. That's his first foul, team second, and the free throw is no good from Mateen Cleaves, who's a 71% free throw shooter. His highest point total this year, 32. 48-48. Mateen Cleaves now with 16 points on the afternoon. 49-48, Flint Northern by 1. Vikings in a man-to-man defense. Chris Brown tries to penetrate on top, now goes on the wing, and a foul. And the officials, I think rightfully so, calling this game very tight. Any kind of hand checks, any kind of contact at all, they're blowing the whistle. They're going to keep control of this game.
Well, you can hardly blame Northern for wanting to step out and put a serious checking job on Norman. Lavelle Hamlin, though, didn't quite need to do it 35 feet from the hole.
And another foul called on the backcourt as Chris Brown was trying to knock the ball away from Torrey Gist.
And that is 4 team fouls already on Flint Northern. And I'll tell you what, judging by how well Kalamazoo Central shot free throws in the first half, I'm not sure you want to let this team end up with a free throw parade. They were 6 of 8 in the first half.
Said it the other way around. It was Gist on the foul, and that's his third, and he will take a seat. Lavelle Hamlin, back in the ball game now for the Vikings. They lead by 1, 49-48, and an offensive foul call on the drive on Norman.
Good call as Antonio stepped in the way of that one, and had that gone the other way, Antonio would have probably had a seat because that would have been his third personal.
Foul number 3, Arthur Norman, is first.
Take a look at the drive to the hole. Again, watch Antonio step over and take the shoulder right in the chest. Good defense by Smith.
Already had 7 fouls in the first minute and a half of the second half. And going up with it is Smith. He comes right back down with it. Maybe he should have been a whistle, but Smith puts it right back up and in. And Kalamazoo coach Clarence Gardner a bit hot about that one. 51-48, a 3-point lead now for Northern.
Got the arms crossed. That means he's not a terribly happy camper with that last call.
You can hear that one rattle. That is Milo Stovall. Couldn't get it to fall, and the Vikings with a chance to take their biggest lead in quite some time with a bucket here.
And for the Giants, it looks like they're going to have to look for the next hot hand. They have gone through Norman. They've gone through Stovall. I don't know who it's going to be next, but they've got to find somebody soon because Antonio's killing them in the paint.
33, Antonio Smith.
53-48. 19 now for Antonio Smith. He's got 10 boards to go with it. And right now, Kalamazoo Central needing a bucket. Underneath it goes to Buchanan. He's double teamed. A whistle. And a foul will be called, I think, on Antonio Smith on the way up.
They're going to take it out of bounds. I kind of thought that Jermaine was looking to get that shot off and just couldn't get his hands up over the waist. Take another look at the Vikings offensive trip the last time down. As Antonio, I mentioned, Todd mentioned, has 10 rebounds in the ballgame. Going to pick up one the old-fashioned way, getting his own miss. Has it stripped away momentarily and then sticks with it.
Antonio with 3 fouls. And he'll stay in there. There's a bit of a gamble from Tony Holiday and a triple from Stovall. 53-51. He now has 20 at the other end quickly. A bucket up and good from Lavelle Hamlin. 55-51, the Vikings on top.
Well, just like that, the Vikings answer an excellent outside shot by Stovall. Now let's see if they try and spring him free from for another couple of shots.
Cleaves is working on him, but the feed instead goes inside of Buchanan. His little 6-foot turnaround won't go. Rebound comes out to Robert Smith. They almost lose it. It's handled by Lavelle Hamlin and back to Mateen Cleaves. And the Vikings set up the offense. Cleaves drives in the lane, dishes down low to Robert. Reverse won't go.
Beautiful look.
And here come the Maroon Giants. Arthur Norman kicks it back on top. Chris Brown, other side. Stovall has it go through his hands, out of bounds, back to Flint Northern.
Well, he was making the baseline spin move before the ball got there. You could see him turn his entire body, and all of a sudden the pass came, and he wasn't quite ready for it.
A quick look at the first-year coach for the Maroon Giants. Clarence Gardner. Substitutions coming in. Deontay Harvey chucks back in the ball game.
Deontay Harvey.
And was that sitting down Lavelle Hamlin, I believe, over there, sat down. Deontay Harvey, number 32, and here comes Mateen Cleaves. Bounce past Antonio Smith, stripped away. Stovall has it. Stovall drives right to the hole. Stovall up and in.
Man. Well, he just walked through the park that time. Somebody has got to step in there and make him change direction. Stovall, excellent nose for the basket. Didn't try and get fancy, just looked like a layup drill with nobody in the way.
55-53 and a whistle away from the ball. Going to go against Kalamazoo Central. That'll be Calvin Harley, who's going to get called for a hold underneath the basket.
Take a look at this is Stovall going to the hole. Watch the Red Sea part for him. Nobody steps in the way. Then a nice little change of direction inside for the finger roll. Somebody needs to pick that up actually out near the timeline. Easier said than done, I realize. Easy for me to say that sitting here. But Stovall had an uncontested path to the basket as Daryl Smith now comes in for the Giants, and Calvin Harley gets a little rest.
Now, this kid hasn't really played much at all. In fact, I think he's just checking in, but he's averaged 14 points a game this year for the Maroon Giants. Deontay Harvey with a triple, won't go. Rebound though, Flint Northern. Shot is up and no good from Massey. They keep it alive. Antonio Smith can't hit it underneath. Mad scramble, Smith stays with it and drops it through.
3 offensive rebounds on that series. I mean, they're padding the stat column and also making a big old dent in that scoreboard if they can keep clearing the glass.
Oh, Mateen Cleaves with a steal, but the fancy behind the back pass is intercepted. Stovall alone at the other end. What a great play. A whistle. That is Mateen Cleaves, who came out of nowhere and made a beautiful block, but got somebody.
Well, we're going to have to take another look at that one because I am not sure that there is going to be cause for free throws here. That was a vicious block, but as far as I can tell, that was a clean block nonetheless.
At the free throw line will be Milo Stovall. The sophomore will step up. He, of course, has had a big one. Antonio Smith, by the way, with 21 points and 12 rebounds. Stovall with 22, trying to pad that as his team now trails by 4 with 3:41 to go, and the first one rattles away.
Boy, Tony Holiday never changes expression. I've been keeping my eye on him after that foul call, and he's just very stoic and very composed, trying to keep the team in the right frame of mind as they see their lead cut to 3.
57-54. There's Coach Holiday watching his Vikings protect that lead with 3:36 to go in the third. The winner meets Detroit Pershing in the Class A final. Cleaves feeds into Antonio Smith. Kicks it out on high. The jumper from Antone Massey won't go. Gets his zone. Back up and good.
22.
That is one of the first times today that the K-Central strategy of releasing a man down court burned him, because the shooter came right in, followed his own shot, and Massey got an easy follow-up because his defender was going down for the long outlet pass.
Milo Stovall from the elbow. 16-footer goes. 59-56 with 25 now for Milo Stovall. Mateen Cleaves walks it up for the Vikings. Looking for Antonio down low. He's doubled up. Kicks it back out. No, he goes up with a jumper. One-hander won't go. Fights for his rebound. It's loose. And Buchanan has it for Central. Long pass up court. And there's Arthur Norman. Nice play.
What a great recovery as Deontay Harvey knocked it out of his hands in midair. He gets it back and puts it in.
59-58, Northern on top. Great hands on that play by Arthur Norman.
Well, the Vikings looking for the post again.
Antonio says break Mateen. He does, but a travel as he couldn't handle it as it came in.
Yeah, we'll take a look now at what happens when you release a defender early to go down for a long outlet pass. As the shot comes in, first-year coach textbook will tell you to follow your shot in. They'll also tell you to box out the shooter. You see one thing happening, one thing not, and an easy follow-up for the Vikings.
Vikings by one. No good on the fadeaway jumper from Milo Stovall. Buchanan saves it, tries to feed inside, and it's picked off instead by the Vikings. Robert Garth, number 50, who's checked back in the ball game, came up with it with 2 minutes even to go in the third and a 1-point lead. The Vikings back on the attack. Mateen Cleaves looking baseline, stops, has to go in the middle. Oh, how did Garth come up with that one? How did Robert Garth come up with that one?
That is an assist that Mateen will take and buy Garth some French fries for afterwards, because he was caught in the air with nowhere to go.
The feed inside of Buchanan is knocked away. Deontay Harvey comes up with it for Flint with 1:35 showing on the clock. Up court, almost intercepted, knocked out. Nice hustle by Chris Brown, number 15. And it goes back to the Vikings.
Here's the play that happened a few moments ago. Arthur Norman having the ball deflected out of his hands and still able to recapture it and put it in. That's concentration on your way up, folks.
Harvey's triple won't go, but Antonio Smith keeps it alive, goes up and banks it in. That's a great play. Offensive rebound by Antonio Smith. He now has 23 points, 13 rebounds, and Flint with a 63-58 lead over Kalamazoo Central.
And I don't know the offensive board numbers since halftime, but Flint Northern still killing K Central on the offensive glass.
Daryl Smith's first shot that he put up is short, but he's got an excuse. He was hacked.
Northern foul, 22.
63-58 is the score. We were tied at 46 at the half, and it's still been a close one. And we've seen in this game, Bill, if any team gets 6 or 8 ahead, that can be erased in about 30 seconds, the way these two teams can get up and down the court.
Well, you know what the trend has been this afternoon? Every time that K Central starts to draw themselves close or establish that they're going to stay in this game, they have 2 possessions in a row out of the half-court set where they just throw it away. And Northern will make you pay for something like that. Although at the same time, the Vikings have not pulled away in this game because they have been a little sloppy with it, as Antonio has a seat on the bench. His brother will come in to replace him.
Robert is back in. Antonio with 3 fouls. He'll be playing his college basketball here at the Breslin Arena. Second one is missed. Rebound kept alive by Mateen Cleaves, and here come the Vikings. Cleaves in the middle. Cleaves with a great step around the defender, and the left-hander off the window.
The killer crossover is Hardaway's patented move, and Mateen just took it away.
And Milo Stovall has the answer at the other end for Central.
27 for Milo.
65-60. We got 42 seconds to go, and Mateen Cleaves, I think, is going to slow it down for the final shot for the quarter for Flint Northern. So they'll lead by 5, by 7, by 8. One of those if they can hit the final shot. And 5, of course, if they can't. Clock winding down now to 26 seconds. The defense starts coming out a little bit further. Deontay Harvey holding the ball on the hip. Arthur Norman on him.
Boy, he's close. He came real close to the timeline.
And they're down to 12. Mateen Cleaves says, all right, here's what we're going to do, guys. He's got it on top with 7 seconds. Into the lane, dishes on top. Robert Smith, 3-point set shot. Bang.
That looked like they meant to do it.
I'm not exactly sure that's what Tony Holliday had planned, but I'm sure he will take it as Robert Smith with the 3-point 1950 set shot bangs it home, and Flint Northern now with an 8-point lead over the Maroon Giants of Kalamazoo Central after 3.
Well, in retrospect, you look at and you wonder how he got so open. Antonio Smith is out of the ball game. All of a sudden they leave his brother wide open as we see Mateen Cleaves go with the crossover to the left hand and then the scoop. That is a beautiful, especially when you take off from the free throw line. Man,
that is a big-time move, a big-time move.
Well,
and there's one of the little-time fans out here to watch the action at the Breslin Center. You better have a better view of that once the action starts again, right? Somebody better get out of his way.
A little defensive, actually a big defensive lapse to close out the third period. You cannot leave somebody that open for a three. Robert looked like Set Shot Buford from The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. I know that's your favorite movie, as he had all day to jack that thing up.
And right now, Kalamazoo Central talking about what they need to do in these final 8 minutes. We saw the very hot shooting of Arthur Norman and also Milo Stovall in the second. They've kind of cooled off a little bit in that third, and they find themselves down by 8, 68-60.
27 for Stovall in the ball game. Norman with 23. Aside from that, the rest of their scoring has been, nobody has more than 4 points, so you can see how they've spread things around. Meanwhile, for Flint Northern, Antonio with 23, Mateen Cleaves with 18, and Robert with 15. They have spread it around with 3 different players in double digits.
All right, 8-point lead, though, is definitely not a comfortable one with 8 minutes showing on the clock the way we've seen.
Mama's trying to get him to look at the camera. He's looking for Elvis. There we are. How you doing? There he is, waving to the camera. A future Fox star in the making.
And we are ready for the final 8 minutes at the Breslin Center. Central will inbound the ball. Arthur Norman standing directly in front of me.
Little standing O from the Giant fans to spur their team on in the final 8 minutes of somebody's season.
Milo Stovall, Arthur Norman, Chris Brown, Daryl Smith in the ball game for the Maroon Giants. And I left out one. That's Nikita Robinson. We'll set Northern's for you in a moment as they drop back into a zone defense to change things up to start this fourth and final period. And there's Robinson with a turnaround, but saves his own rebound. Up and he can't get it. Robert Smith clears it away.
Well, they need to convert on those. I mean, that's kind of stating the obvious. But whenever you can get a shot inside 6 feet with Antonio out of there, you got to get it down.
Cleaves passes deflected away, and here comes Stovall.
I heard it.
And no, but a whistle.
You heard that slap as they ran by. And just a little bit too effective of a hack for the basket to go down.
Northern foul number 10 gets his fourth.
You can see Antonio a little bit out of the corner of your picture as he gets set to come into the ball game. Didn't get a whole lot of rest, but he sat out the final couple of seconds of that third period, and now he's getting ready for the stretch run as Jermaine Buchanan also comes in for the Giants.
And that foul on Torrey Gist was his fourth, so he will also sit down. And Anton Massey comes back in for that man's squad. Tony Holliday, Milo Stovall with 27 in the book. 28. 68-61. Northern on top with 7:22 left in the contest.
Milo is a sophomore, my friends.
Got some good young talent on this Kalamazoo Central team. Only 2 seniors start. Second one is clanked off the back of the iron. Anton Massey brings it down and brings it across the timeline to Mateen Cleaves. Cleaves alley-oop, one-hander. It's loose, and look at that. Comes right up in the hands of Robert Smith, and he drops it down. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, I guess.
Oh boy, they go for the dangerous play. It doesn't pay off, but they still get 2. That's what you call leading a charmed life.
And now they're up 9, 70-61. It could be their biggest lead, I believe, of the day. Stovall for 3. Can't get it. Nice rebound underneath, but it won't go for Daryl Smith. It's loose, and it's picked up by Buchanan. He goes off the window short. And finally, Robert Smith will clean it and walk with it.
Well, he was actually fighting with other red shirts for that rebound. Good job by the Giants this time to make the offensive glass a priority.
That looks like Andre Agassi with a couple extra pounds, doesn't he?
I don't think that's Brooke next to him.
Chris Brown goes right side. Stovall has to kick it back out on top.
Well, he wants that shot. You can see him just dying to get it off.
Daryl Smith feeds inside to Buchanan, off the window and rolling it through. Jermaine Buchanan, a junior, drops it through, and it's a 70-63 game, and now a little backcourt pressure by the Maroon Giants.
Oh boy, there was a drag of the back foot, and they did catch it. Good call, and the pressure pays off for Kalamazoo.
Clarence Gardner says, I'm going to put a little pressure on these guys and see how they handle it, and the first time that they do, it forces a turnover. A timeout being called by Tony Holliday and his Flint Northern Vikings. They lead it 70-63, and we've got 6:20 left to go in this contest.
And Flint Northern has 16 offensive rebounds at this point of the ballgame. As I mentioned, that's been a key all throughout. Field goal percentages hanging right around the 51% mark for the Vikings. They now are in a position with a 7-point lead of not having to force anything. as Kalamazoo has seen their shooting percentage go to 54 on the ball game. But the big number, 27 second chance points for Flint Central, 5 for K Central. And that's what's going to get you. I mean, you cannot give up that many other opportunities.
And as you look at the Northern State titles, 1978, 72, 71, 47. Now, the reason you see the asterisk by 1936 because they defeated this Kalamazoo Central team in overtime by 1. And I guess we call that one a defensive struggle back in 1936.
I believe that's when the first idea of a shot clock came about. One big game of 4 corners, maybe. I wasn't there. Were you around for that one?
I was not. I missed that one.
Must have been out firing up the Studebaker.
70-63. Kalamazoo Central down 7 with the ball. And Flint Northern in the defense. Stovall drives off the window. Got it.
Boy, he can change direction so well, but the Vikings beat him out.
And Harvey on the long baseball pass reception drops it through. 72-65. That'll make a coach unhappy. His team scores. He knows he's got to get back in a hurry.
That's one way to beat the defensive pressure. Just throw it deep.
72-65. Shot is up. No good. Rebound nicely by Daryl Smith. Turn around.
Daryl ever coming off the bench to provide a nice spark for the Giants.
Mateen Cleaves falls down but dishes it off. Harvey off the window. No. Rebound. Saved by Robert Smith to Mateen Cleaves. Cleaves up and got it.
You have clearance for landing.
Steal by Gist. All the way to the hoop. Underneath. No good. Loose. And Gist will come up with it.
Boy, oh boy. Now we can collect our breath as the Vikings maybe slow it down for a second.
We have seen some athletic plays here underneath. Nice feed. Robert Smith feeds his brother, Antonio Smith. And it's a 76-67 9-point lead by the Vikings. Stovall on the right wing wants the shot. Every time he gets that ball, you can see he wants to put it up. And why not? He's the leading scorer in this game. He's got 30 points.
And you notice we haven't said the name Norman very much. He is being shadowed like an extra pair of underwear by Massey.
Stovall off the side of the backboard, but fights for his own rebound. Back up, and this time I think we're going to get the 4th foul on Antonio Smith.
You have got to give Stovall a ton of credit. Most guys, when they have their shot rejected, watch it for a couple of seconds. He didn't even waste time. Went right back and got it, threw it back up, and drew the foul.
Let's take a look at some of the great inside work by Kalamazoo Central. Shot no good from Chris Brown here, and watch the rebounds.
They tap it around, and that's Daryl Smith coming out of nowhere in the soft fadeaway on the follow-up.
That's 31 now for Milo Stovall.
Meanwhile, back down at the Flint Northern end, you can see them crashing the boards. Nice save inbounds, and again, they get the benefit of a deflection. It comes right back into a red jersey. If we had to count up all the loose balls that the Red have pulled in today.
Stovall hits both, and they want a timeout. Now keep in mind, that last foul was indeed on Antonio Smith, who has 25 points and 13 rebounds, and that was his 4th foul with 4:44 left to go.
Gist also has 4 for Flint Northern. Foul trouble on the other side, really not that dire in anybody's book. Harley and Robinson with 3 apiece.
The Vikings lead at 76-69. You can see the Kalamazoo Central Maroon Giants talking it over with head coach Clarence Gardner, looking for their first Class A state title since 1951. Boy, some exciting basketball this weekend at the Breslin Arena here on the campus of Michigan State University. Great work by our technical crew as well, guys. We appreciate it, the ABS Sports crew.
And you can see how it's broken down over the years with the most Class A state titles. Yes, in recent years, the Detroit schools have dominated, but when you take the entire history of the tournament, Flint Northern with 8, K Central with 6, Pershing with 4, Jackson with 4, and then the leaderboard is rather crowded a little bit farther down.
And by the way, it would be a great year for Flint Northern. I mean, keep in mind that already the Northern girls basketball team won the state title, the Northern wrestling team won the state Class A title, and they would be the 3rd team this year to win a title. That's tremendous.
They're going to have to build an annex on the school for the just for the trophy case. And when Northern can make it to the title game, they're 8-2 over their career. Getting to that point has been kind of an Achilles heel for them the last couple of seasons.
7-point lead for the Vikings as they bring it up with 4:36 showing on the clock. Torrey Gist with the rock on top. Off to Deontay Harvey, being worked on man-to-man by Arthur Norman. And Flint is going to be, I think, very, very cautious with their shot selection right now. Underneath, alley-oop to Robert Smith. What a great pass by Torrey Gist.
Maybe not so cautious on that possession, but they still went for the highest percentage you're going to end up with. And Antonio, again, has a great height advantage down low.
And Stovall driving shot is missed. Rebound, Antonio Smith.
Look out.
Up court it comes. Mateen Cleaves, right side. Dante Harvey, no. Blocking foul will be called on Chris Brown.
Boy, Deontay got up in the air and almost got himself in a position where hitting the floor was going to happen. Luckily, he was able to avoid the real heavy spill.
Tony Holiday has a chat with Mateen Cleaves. What a great junior this kid has been. He's really come into his own this season, and he'll be a player rather that many major teams will be looking at next year. Deontay Harvey connects on the first one, and now the Vikings with their biggest lead of the night with 3:59 to go, 79-69.
Antonio doing what he's supposed to do, got Northern the ball with his 14th rebound the last time down on defense, and the free throws go.
80-69. And now we'll see what happens with Kalamazoo Central, and driving is Norman, spins up with a jumper, and it won't go. Nice follow, though.
Give that tap into Jermaine Buchanan, and here they come with a little bit of pressure. Now they pull it off as the ball comes across the timeline.
Deontay Harvey in the right corner. Nice ground camera work. Gist, nice move into the paint, throws up a shot, or was that a pass to Robert Smith? I think it was a pass.
What do you think he's going to tell you?
I think he'll say it was a pass.
That helps the assist total a little bit and opens up the lead to 11.
82-71. Flint Northern kind of packing it down low in that zone right now. And there's the shot from Chris Brown. The elbow no good. Clearing the glasses, Antonio Smith, who's got a bundle of boards.
And did you notice no white jerseys in the paint that time on the rebound? It's getting close to the point.
And listen to that Northern crowd.
Getting close to the point where the Vikings are smelling blood and ready to close it out.
Under 3 minutes to go. Flint Northern lost in the state semifinal last year to the Doughboys of Detroit Pershing. And that is who they will meet in the final if they get a chance to win this game. And that's what maybe paybacks are all about. That's what the Vikings are thinking. Great passing, Smith to Smith. And Robert puts it down. 13-point lead.
Mark it down at the 2:35 mark when this one, the coffin was about to be sealed. And I don't say that disparagingly on K Central because they still are alive and playing very hard, as you see an offensive rebound and a huge putback for Jermaine Buchanan, and now a timeout called. But you could see on that last possession by Flint Northern that they're feeling it. They've got it there.
Arthur Norman put up that long jumper. It would not go from three, but Jermaine Buchanan right there for the aggressive putback. But time is definitely not on their side, trailing by 11 with 2:19 to go.
And you can take a look at how Flint Northern is dominating down on the offensive end, and look at the touch passes around and the way that they handle the ball. Antonio with a great look inside to Robert. He's going to get it back here right in the post area, then across the paint, catches everybody unaware. Daryl Smith a little late coming over to help out. And now down on the other end, you can take a look at the good effort by Jermaine Buchanan as he gets it back. And Jermaine is not going to make any problem, not going to make any errors with this one. He goes back up and hammers it down.
Bill, I believe that's called a high percentage shot.
The Thunder dunk. Thunder Dan would be proud.
Oh, they're starting to dance over in the Flint Northern side. The players won't be celebrating anytime soon, not for another 2:19 on the clock anyway. 84-73, the Vikings hoping to go to the state final and put an end to that Detroit run of 8 straight Class A finals by Detroit schools. They would meet Detroit Pershing in the final.
He's copying my moves, man. Where did he get permission to do that? Very nicely done. 2:19 to go.
And a Kalamazoo Central fan rooting her team on too.
And by the way, you see the fans getting excited. I don't see the Flint Northern players doing any trash talking or any extra celebrating before this one is over. They're going to wait till the buzzer sounds before any of that stuff takes place.
They'd be wise not to. Mateen Cleaves. Looking down low for Robert Smith, working diligently against Nikita Robinson, pardon me. Flint, not a really good free throw shooting team, and that's going to be an option because right now they're going to run that clock down. It's under 2 minutes, down to 1:48. Flint Northern leading 84-73. Deontay Harvey calling the play. He drives right side, now pulls it back out. Central's got to make something happen defensively here. The time is running out on them. They're down 11. You can't allow this much time to go off the clock. And a slip momentarily by Deontay Harvey, but he keeps control of the ball.
Well, now they're going to just look around, and give up an easy layup because they should have been fouling seconds ago. They allowed over 30 seconds to go off the clock in just that half-court set. Takes us under 1:15.
50 points by the Smiths, 27 for Antonio, and Robert with 23 after that bucket. Let's take a look at that feed once again as Robert Smith will come up with a bucket underneath.
Well, there's a lot to be said for the delay game because it lulls the defense into a little bit of a coma, if you will. And meanwhile, Robert sneaks behind him, and the brothers have that extra thing. They have the little telepathy going, I think you call it. He could have thrown that no look, and it still would have worked.
They certainly have had some wonderful assists to each other as Arthur Norman has played a stellar contest today. Gone well above his average of 19.2 points a game. He's already hit for 23 points.
Field goal percentage right now, by the way, pretty much dead even in this ballgame, 52 to 54%, and now 25 points for Norman.
But not very many in this second half, Bill. We are at 109, 86-75, an 11-point lead for the Vikings.
And they're just going to play catch with it. Souvenir.
And Chris Brown, I don't know, did they get him for the hack there? I think they did.
I'll tell you what, if that ball had come to this section of press row, I know you would have been all over it. And then you would try to sneak out of here with it, wouldn't you? It's not baseball.
I just put up a triple from the bench here. Not a 1-and-1 yet. 1:03 to go. In the backcourt, Mateen Cleaves. Flint Northern with a comfortable 11-point lead and a foul on top on Milo Stovall. And Flint Northern just needs to go and hit a free throw or two here, and this one is iced. It looks like they will be moving on to the Class A state championship as you look at Clarence Gardner, the head coach of the Maroon Giants. Hey, you got to hand it to this guy. First year at the helm, and he takes them one game away for playing for the state title.
And I'm sure, and I didn't have the chance to follow the Giants all during the season, but I'm sure when they accumulated 8 losses on their record, people were starting to murmur, maybe whisper a little bit. Gardner comes back and takes them all the way to the big dance, and one game away from a shot at the title.
Mateen Cleaves gives his team a 12-point lead with 56 seconds to go. (88-75), and Arthur Norman and his Maroon Giants have to get something going in a big-time hurry. He tries an off-balance three. Oh, my.
3 for number 3, Norman.
Hello. 27 now for Norman. And a whistle and a foul on the backcourt with 41 seconds to go.
Well, he hasn't been afraid to pull the trigger all day today, and man, nothing but net on the long ranger.
And we'll start seeing a few substitutions, I'm sure. Brent Merchant, a 6'2 junior guard, will check in the ball game for Kalamazoo Central. And Torrey Gist will be at the line for the Vikings. Nothing but net. Torrey, the best free throw shooter on the team. He's not the guy you want to foul. He's shooting 82% from the stripe. 89-78 is now the score. Good shot from our floor cam.
What kind of shoes is he wearing? Oh, okay.
The ABS sports team bringing you some beautiful pictures of this Class A semifinal contest. 90-78 now the score, and a steal in the backcourt.
Well, you're at the point now where you just you can halt the fouling and just let it go. End this game as quickly as you can. Kalamazoo Central did a great job here today, but let's let it run on down. There's another foul called. 26 seconds left. At this point, these guys know what's going to happen. They know how it's going to end. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. Drag it out as long as possible.
Well, congratulations to the Vikings of Flint Northern, who will be playing for the state title against Detroit Pershing Saturday afternoon, Pershing knocked off Cooley 66-61. And Northern looking for their first Class A state title since 1951 in Saturday's Class A final to be played at 4 p.m. 26 ticks to go. It's all academic from here on out.
Well, everybody's going to get a chance now to say that they have played on the Breslin Center floor. And I'll tell you what, that is no small feat. These teams have been through a whole lot to get here. And as you see some of the bigger name and more frequent players come out of the ball game, you'll see everybody get a chance out there for the Giants. And I would imagine for Flint Northern as well.
Jeremy Johnson is checked in for the Kalamazoo Central Maroon Giants. A lot of fans beginning to file out as you watch Deontay Harvey at the free throw line. It's 91-78, 92-78.
While those free throws were going on, Stovall was in front of our position here, just kind of pacing back and forth. This young man, who is a sophomore, has got 2 incredible years ahead of him. He's going to be visited by more college recruiters than a lot of guys who have played basketball as he launches up a long-range 3.
That's 21 Steve Chester, who you saw check in a minute ago. It's 16 seconds left. Here comes Mateen Cleaves, the alley-oop for Robert. He waits for it and politely kisses it off the window. 9 seconds remaining. Stovall, bounce pass, kicked out of bounds by Deontay Harvey with 6.8 to go. But a 94-78 lead at this point for the Vikings of Flint Northern. And now Tony Holliday will make some wholesale substitutions.
Number 41, Bobby Bain.
Coming in the ball game is Leonard Williams, number 12. Also in the ball game, Derek Lee, number 42. Number 41, Bobby Bain checks in. I also see number 30, Khalil Hairston is in the contest. And back in the ball game, Laval Hamlin, who we've seen in before. And right side, the shot is up, and it will not go from Kalamazoo Central, and that's it. The buzzer sounds, and the Vikings of Flint Northern have advanced to the Class A state championship game Saturday afternoon here at the Breslin Center, as they will be taking on the Pershing Doughboys out of Detroit.
A most impressive performance by Flint Northern. You have to say that. We know that off the bat, but this game was not really a 16-point blowout. For 3 quarters, this was as tight as you could have had it. At halftime, we were tied, and Northern had to get a tip in at the buzzer to tie it at halftime. Kalamazoo Central goes home, but they go home knowing that the 8 losses during the regular season meant nothing. They got this far and put a real scare into what perhaps is the state's top team.
And you see Central walking off, obviously disappointed at this point, but hey, congratulations, guys. A great season making it to the Class A semifinals. Flint Northern walks off. They've got a date tomorrow. They'll be spending the night here, and then, of course, back at it tomorrow against Detroit Pershing. Tony Holliday walking off the court. 94-78, again, is our final score. We get a chance to get a couple of real quick final stats here, Bill. Maybe a couple of point totals. Norman had 32 points for the Kalamazoo Central squad. Oh, excuse me, that's minutes, pardon me. 28 points, 32 points for Stovall, who about doubled his average, and 18 for Buchanan, so some decent balance there. 10 points, pardon me, for him.
On the other side of the ball, 27 for Antonio, 25 for Robert, and Mateen Cleaves with 22. So they put 3 guys in double digits, and then they had Harvey and Gist with 6, and Messi had 4 to round things out. Again, I mean, I don't like to sound like a broken record, but it's the offensive glass that, to me, made the difference in this ballgame.
Another well-played contest, and we hope you enjoyed this one, and we thank you very much for joining us here this afternoon at the Breslin Center. Bill, a pleasure working with you as always, and we'll see you somewhere down the road.
Thank you, sir.
There's your final score once again. Flint Northern Vikings knock off the Kalamazoo Central Maroon Giants in the Class A semifinal by a final score of 94-78. For Bill Hobson and the entire ABS Sports crew, I'm Todd Arner. So long, everybody, from the Breslin Center in East Lansing.